It's that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Slade, after taking Christmas week off, we checked our lists, checked them twice, or in Slade's case, checked them 3 days ago, for games that we played, the best and worst of them, that we played throughout the whole year. How are you doing, Slade?
I'm doing pretty fantastic. That's right. We have a lot of amazing games that we have played this year that we just want to share with you guys our experiences. And, maybe find a game in here you really like and we get to share the same enjoyment. Or maybe you hear about something for the first time and you get the cue to, give it a go if you hadn't already.
Yeah, so like the last 2 years that we have done this, this is the games that we played for the first time in 2022. Not only the new games, and there are a few of them on there, on both of our lists, but also older games, whether they're from the NES to the Wii, well, not the Wii U. Nobody fucking owns the Wii U anymore, but not from N64 to PS3, Wii, and more. And all that fun stuff. So, but first, we're gonna gaze a little bit into the future here with most anticipated game awards. Most anticipated game was Tears of the Kingdom. Mine is The Plucky Squire, game made by former Pokemon art director. It was revealed at the Devolver Digital E3 show this year. And it looks a lot like the Link's Awakening Switch remake? Remaster, all that complicated.
No, that's
shit.
correct. But it's also got like a cartoony kind of like look to it.
Yeah, the 2D storybook. Like, this game looks so sick. This is one of those games, like, the gameplay looks fine enough, but it's the visuals that are hooking me.
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't happen often.
In the trailer where he jumps out of the book and like starts like running around.
So
I thought
good.
It was, like,
that's so good. It doesn't have.
I'm actually excited for this game too.
Yeah. Currently doesn't have a release date, but it is set to come out next year in 2023. I'm gonna look real stupid if it doesn't come out.
I mean, a lot of things get delayed. It can't be helped.
Unlike what is your most anticipated game, Slade? Because that has a date to it.
Yeah, so my most anticipated game does line up with the Game Awards. It is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm super excited for that because I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild, and I'm just wondering how they're going to follow up on it. So
yeah, we don't know much of shit about this game.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of like Zeltic videos and like other ones that like kind of tear apart each of the trailers and talk about them in detail that I've watched a bunch, but I won't beat you guys to death with this game. I'm sure we're all looking forward to it. It comes out in May. So
yeah, May 12th, and hey, people, there's not going to be a Switch 2 launching with it, okay?
Oh yeah, that's right. Bucks. But it will be $70, like I said in the other video.
It will not be $70 fucking dollars. You madman. You
okay.
Speaking of madmen,
we're going to do something a little bit different this year. So Byron had the misfortune of playing a specific game
so
we've covered on the channel. So this year, we're going to have a dishonorable mention category where we talk about the worst game that we've played this year. So Byron, if you want to go ahead and take off.
Yeah, Balan Wonderworld. Yeah. I played that this year. Ian, I don't know if you're ever going to be watching or listening to this, but shoutouts to him for gifting me the game for $20 when it went on sale earlier this year for its anniversary. And fucking, I played it. I didn't 100% it, but I played all of it, every level. There's potential, but god fucking damn it, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah,
man.
It's one of those things where like there's notoriety about like a game. You play like, oh, it's not as bad as people are saying.
Yeah.
But then like you see Balan Wonderworld has a lot of notoriety. You play and you're like, oh god, it's even worse than what people were saying.
Yeah. Like again, there's potential there, but the one button control scheme, man. I wish I had an image of this pulled up on the show, but you hold a standard controller A, B, X, Y, L, R. They do the same fucking thing. They do the same goddamn action, jump, or whatever the action is. Because some costumes in this game, which are more like power-ups than actual costumes, you have to... There are some that can't fucking jump in a platformer where you jump. For God's sake. It's a platformer.
Really one of the worst modern video game experiences of all time.
You have to grind for costumes, which I had to. If you haven't, the one Byron VODs, my entire playthrough is up there if you want to watch like 10 to 14 hours of suffering, but yeah, you have to grind for costumes. Because again, they're more like your Mario power-up, except less easier to get. And I'm like, why? And as we've covered on the show, the whole shit show with Yuji Naka potentially having been fired from Square Enix like 6 months before the game was set to come out, and the 2 times that he's gotten arrested. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, just honestly a cursed game in general. And you guys are getting the official who the hell ass recommendation to never fucking touch this game.
Well, okay, I will say this though. Balan is not as cursed as Advance Wars.
Yeah, but that's cursed for like different reasons, not quality.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I've ranted. What's your rant point before we actually get into, goodness? Games we actually liked.
I want to say that I am not as cursed as Byron is. I did not have the misfortune of playing something that god-awful. But I do have something that made my dishonorable mention list, and that is Pokemon Violet. So, it's no secret that I've not been a fan of modern Pokemon since X and Y, primarily because none of the games ever get polished enough to the point to where like they feel like complete games. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we had another Pokemon title earlier this year that felt like it was good enough to where like the polish didn't matter as much. But then once Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, it just kind of threw everything out the window. I mean, running at 15 FPS, and it's like not even consistent frames all the place. The game having a memory leak, on top of it looking pretty fugly for the most part. It's just a shame because, like, under the cover for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, there's actually a lot to love. But performance issues are the one things that, like, I just cannot deal with when I play games. So, Violet is my dishonorable mention for the year.
Yeah. And yeah, we will be bringing that category back if there are any next year that we run into. And
yeah, hopefully we avoid the terrible games. Like I said, I don't even think Pokemon Violet's quite that bad. Like compared to like Balan Wonderworld, like holy shit.
Yeah, you got the better, worser game, I guess.
Yeah, by a lot.
God, though again, there is the funny glitches that we covered, including the 2 Joy-Cons one.
Oh yeah. Which I think is still in the game, actually. I don't think they patched that out yet.
Maybe they'll keep it in. Who knows? But, alright, so that's the last time we're going to be talking shit. Because we're actually going to now talk about good games. Not games that made our list, but they were close to it or stood out in some other way. So
yeah, games that we legitimately enjoyed.
So, for me this year, I took a little bit of a different route with this. Because I want to give a ROM hack and a fan game a shout out here on this show. So first off, one of the funnest Mario 64 ROM hacks I played this year was a demake of WarioWare called Mario vs. WarioWare. You know WarioWare? They demade it into Mario 64. With with references to the Wind Waker Octopus minigame, the DS Find the Head minigames. I think there's a reference to a ROM hack that K's Emanuar is working on. And it's just a really fun ROM hack.
Yeah, honestly, never underestimate the passion of the modding community.
Yeah,
Especially the ones for Super Mario 64, because those kids
yeah,
go
because
nuts.
goddamn, there are some good ones I played, and good ones I plan to play next year as well. Maybe a ROM hack will end up in my top 5, but not this year. But the other game that I played was a fan game that released a while ago called Super Mario Flashback. Man, this is one of the funnest fan. This is the first like big fan game I've ever played, and it's so fun. The only issue I had with it was a little jank to get my controller working, but once I got it working, it's a fun little 2D Mario romp through 3 main levels and a bonus level. And when I was done with it, I was like, I want more, and there isn't more, and I'm sad. But yeah, another really fun, non-official game. Definitely highly recommended. Check it out, or you can check out my VOD for it. Again, wink, wink.
Definitely
Because
some stuff to
spoilers.
look into.
Yeah, because spoilers. I have streamed every game I am talking about today, and all 26 games that I played this. Actually, 25 of the 26. But yeah, Super Mario Flashback, highly recommended. The same dude went on to make the fork of the Mario 64 PC port called Mario 64 Plus. So,
Which is super neat.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Slade,
All right.
what honorable
So,
mentions?
my honorable mentions is a little bit crowded. I had the fortune of playing a lot of video games this year and a lot of very good video games. So this is my list of games that just barely didn't make the cut. Okay, so let's start with Ocean's Heart. It is a Link to the Past style Zelda game, but it's not Zelda, obviously. It's an indie game.
Yeah.
It plays a lot like a mix between the original Link's Awakening as well as Zelda. It's a very short game. I think I ended up completing a playthrough in less than like 7 hours or so.
Oh wow.
But I did enjoy the experience a lot. It is a very fun game overall. My only complaint is I feel like overall standing diagonally from enemies is just a little bit too powerful.
What?
Because it felt like enemies weren't designed to be able to handle people standing in that position, which is really unfortunate. But
maybe they'll fix that in Ocean's Heart 2 or Atlantic's Heart or whatever the sequel
from
is.
what I hear, I don't think they have any plans to make another one. But no, I legitimately really enjoyed it. I think anybody that's a Zelda fan should give it a shot. I think it's a very fun game overall. Definitely give that a look. So that's not the only Zelda-like game I have in my honorable mentions. Another one, more of you have probably heard of this one, Tunic. Tunic is another fantastic Zelda-like game that looks very pretty. It's more like Zelda 1 than A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening. But kind of has a story where it's like, show and don't tell, which I think is pretty fantastic and very charming overall. So that's another one that I played and I enjoyed a lot this year. Got 2 more for you guys. So the next game on my list is one that has made my top 5 quite a bit, I think, since we've opened the channel.
Yes.
And honestly, kind of surprising that it missed out in the top 5 this year, considering how much love I have for the series. But I played The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero for the first time this year. And it's a very, very good RPG. I think for a Trails game, it's a little bit on the weaker end, kind of like a Sky FC and whatnot when it comes to like starting out. It's just a little bit slower pace than I would like, but overall, I still really enjoyed the game. It's a Trails game. I think to me, it's the best modern RPG series that are like turn-based that are out there. So definitely give that game a look. But Yeah, missing out on my top 5.
Yeah, surprising.
And the last game I want to talk about, we brought it up a little bit earlier, but Pokemon Legends Arceus is another game that was an honorable mention for me. I really enjoyed catching Pokemon in this game. I think for me, Pokemon's always been more about the battling than it has been about like catching Pokemon. And I think this is the very first time I enjoyed catching Pokemon a lot more than I enjoyed battling or any of the other mechanics.
Interesting.
So, Pokemon Legends Arceus is really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice shake up to the formula. And I hope we get to see another Pokemon game like it. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions, Byron.
Alrighty, and so now this is the part of the show where we're gonna flip flop. So we're gonna go from number 5 to number 1 for our best game that we played in 2022. And I'm gonna start off with probably one of the funniest video games I have ever played of all time. What the Golf by Tri-Band Games. This game, it's golf. But you do so many other things with the mechanic of getting from point A to point B. And it's so funny. You're chucking yourself. You're trying to blow up, like, these little cat dolls. You're riding horses. You're racing a car. You're trying to get a soccer ball past the kids. You're flipping houses. You're playing Katamari Damacy. Hell, there's an entire world in this game that's a Super Hot reference. Super Hot. And a whole bunch of other references are made, and it's you could see the pure joy on my face when I played this game earlier this year, and have continued to do so with the mini expansions that the game has already. But genuinely one of the funniest video games I've ever played. If you need a game that's like you're gonna have a good time with it, the hee-hees, the hoo-has, the funnies, this is the game. And it's also just a genuinely fun golf game. Very, very hilarious game. Highly recommended. That's the number 5.
Yeah, I saw a lot of gameplay of this game, and it's like legitimately like super charming and whatnot.
Yes, it is. I hope there's a sequel or they do some other sport, because I'm looking forward to it in the future. Like, give me like what the football, what the soccer, what the golf 2 would be great. But yeah, really looking forward to see what else Tri-Band does with this series, or if they do something new. But yeah, what the golf, highly recommended. I believe it is on sale right now on the Steam sale, so get it. Please. So good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Give this game a shot, people.
All right.
All right.
What's your number 5, Slade?
So my number 5 list, and I talked about it with Byron, my number 5 spot was absolutely like crowded with games I could potentially put on there. That's why I had a lot of honorable mentions. But my number 5 spot goes to Sonic Frontiers. So not a game that I thought I would enjoy as much as I did, but Open World Sonic seems to be a really good direction for the series that I'd like to see more of. The game's not without its flaws. I know that for a lot of people, the regular zones are a little bit on the weaker side, and the controls aren't exactly like 100% as great as
a general consensus I've heard is that the cyberspace levels are one of the weakest parts of Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, and honestly, the story wasn't all that great either. If I could
it's better than what Sonic has been dealing with for a decade plus.
That is true. And but overall, the quality of the gameplay was really nice. I legitimately enjoyed Sonic Frontiers a lot.
Yeah, which kind of surprised me a little bit that this one snuck into the top 5, especially over Trails. The series, I think every other year you have had a game on there in the top 5. So crazy.
For sure. And that's just a testament to how badly I think Sonic Frontier or the Sonic series just needed some form of innovation.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So I look forward to what Sega is planning to do next, and hope that whatever they plan to do next is a improvement.
Yeah, will Sega improve on Sonic Frontiers on what the fans find issue with, or or will they pull what a Sonic team usually does and it's like, okay, we're scrapping this gimmick, moving on to something else. I don't think it'll be that way, but we'll see. And plus, there's more content coming, like we covered a couple weeks ago. So,
Oh yeah.
alrighty, my number 4, a indie 3D platformer called Pumpkin Jack. So I played this during the Halloween season. It's a more shorter experience. If you just want to mainline it through the game, no collectibles whatsoever. It's about a 4-hour journey. If you're going for the collectibles, it'll probably double that length. But again, it was just a pure fun game. Didn't have much of a story. Didn't need much of a story. Still cool that it had it. But yeah, Pumpkin Jack gets some fucking hops. The combat was cool. Loved the aesthetic of the game. It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you've ever heard of this game, Slade, but Medieval on the old PlayStation. Yeah, I got a lot of vibes of that game from this.
That is an endorsement if I've ever heard one.
I've actually never played Medieval, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Very good.
Yeah, very good game. My one issue, I think it is a bit too expensive for what you get. Typically, it is about $30, and I think that's a little bit much. But like, get this game like on a sale for like $15, $20. You're gonna have a really good time, and the game looks great as well. And you get a lot of costumes you unlock. There's quite a few collectibles, all that good stuff. So yeah, Pumpkin Jack is number 4 for me. Definitely play it during Halloween or Christmas, because the story does kind of have like a Christmas level. So there's 2 holidays you can play the game during. All right, Slade, what's your number 4?
So my number 4 was a last-minute surprising addition to my list overall. Something that I ended up being very surprised that I was including. Scarlet Nexus, a hack and slash game made by Bandai Namco with a kind of similar gameplay style to Tales of Arise overall.
Interesting.
I've heard people describe it as kind of like toddler's first hack and slash in terms of like difficulty. I think it's pretty apt. Yeah. I think it's a nice introduction to the hack and slash genre for anybody who's never played one before. And I really enjoyed my playthrough of it. It's actually not fully complete yet, but at this point I've seen enough to where I know that regardless of what happens either in the story or in the game, that like it's not going to remove the enjoyment I've had up until this point.
Insert the pitchforks of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it would have to be like the worst ending of like all time.
Yeah. Which
I guess would be like kind of, you know, on money, because I know there's an anime of Scarlet Nexus as well. And having terrible endings is just something that happens within the genre.
Yeah, looking at the character designs, it makes sense that there's an anime for it. Bandai make a lot of or publish at the very least a lot of anime games. So
oh yeah,
makes sense. But yeah, kind of shocked you played this one.
Yeah, it ended up being on sale on Steam, and I thought it was just something that was like worth trying. And I'm glad I tried it. Actually, it's just really fantastic game. Again, if you've never played a hack and slash game before, I think it's a pretty fantastic place to start. And yeah, I definitely would recommend it.
Alrighty. My number 3, we're getting to the top 3. Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. So, for those who don't know, the makers of this game, Playtonic Games, are made up of a lot of the former Rare employees, the ones who aren't working on the hit cash cow Sea of Thieves.
That is correct.
They tried their hand at mimicking Banjo-Kazooie, except they added in some of the problems of Tooie. At least from what I've heard. I've never played Banjo-Tooie, but
it's also just like Nintendo 64 platforming titles have just not aged like incredibly well.
yeah, yeah, like Banjo-Kazooie, which was I will say this right now, Banjo-Kazooie is probably my number 6 this year.
Mhm.
Definitely if you're gonna play like Banjo, play it on Xbox. Find a way. But Playtonic took a break from trying to mimic Banjo-Kazooie, trying to do a 3D platformer, and did it in a more Donkey Kong Country style game. And Slade knows me. I like my Donkey Kong Country one. I really enjoyed this. Great modern take on the DKC formula with a very unique gimmick of the impossible lair, which, like Breath of the Wild's, like, oh, you can go to Ganon like immediately, but you'll get your ass kicked. You can go to the impossible lair, the final level, and you can get your ass kicked there.
I think that's actually one of the more fantastic gimmicks that like anybody's come up with, being able to play the final level right off the bat.
Yeah.
And it being legitimately possible to do so without
It's possible,
completing the
and
full game.
there are achievements. I think I know on like PlayStation, I think that's, if not a gold trophy, that might be a platinum. But yeah, I don't recommend doing that, but you could do that if you want. Even if you go through like I did, get most of the collectibles, get all the letters, get all the pieces, get all the B Italian. Yeah, there was a lot of B puns in this game. Fair warning. B.
It wouldn't be a rare title if there weren't
Yeah, it
puns.
wouldn't be that style of game from them if there weren't puns like that. But
Yeah.
be prepared for a great time playing this game. The Impossible Lair, it's still a fucking challenge, even if you have all 48 B-Talion members, because fuck me. One of the hardest things I did in gaming this year, besides probably Link to the Past's finale, fuck, man, that was brutal, was taking on the Impossible Lair. Which, yeah, it did make me salty, but I still highly recommend Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. If you're looking for more of that Donkey Kong Country style flavor and you've already played Returns and Tropical Freeze, go for Impossible Lair. Highly recommended. And I hope we hear for whatever the hell Playtonic is doing next year, whether it's an Impossible Lair 2 or a Yooka-Laylee 3D platformer 2 or whatever they do next.
Yeah, I sincerely hope they stick with the Donkey Kong Country direction.
I would be fine with them, like, now that they have all the knowledge and the fan feedback. I'm cool with them giving the 3D platformer another try, to be honest. I'd be down.
Yeah, I don't know though. It's just like I said, I just feel like the style of platformer from that day and age is kind of just dated to an extent. There's a reason why you've seen Zelda as well, or not Zelda, you've seen Mario and even Sonic to like a much lesser extent evolve in the ways that they did.
Well, maybe Playtonic will surprise you. Who knows?
True, they could. So, moving on to my number 3 title. This is the part where I start bombarding you guys with my RPGs because y'all know how much I love my RPGs. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Oh, ha, very funny. Xenoblade 3 is number 3. Ha.
Not intentionally.
I know
way.
it's not
Just kinda
intentional,
ended up
but
being
it's
that
still
way.
fucking hilarious, regardless.
But no, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I legitimately enjoyed a lot. I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I did 2, or Xenoblade Chronicles X. Not quite as much as 1, but I mean, that's pretty lofty standard to hold yourself to for any type of RPG. But I really enjoyed the new dynamic for like the combat styles being a mixture of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. I think that was super neat. And then there's also a lot of things to love in regards to like the serious undertones of the story and whatnot. I think as a game, like it took itself quite a bit more seriously than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did, but like not to its detriment. So I would recommend anybody pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You don't have to play the first two. It's in the same universe, but it's not. It's kind of like Final Fantasy in the sense that you don't have to play the titles to know what's going on with later titles.
Yeah.
So, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, love it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be getting DLC heading into 2023, I think, right?
Yeah, and if it's anything like the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, it's gonna be must-have. I mean, Torna's Golden expansion was like basically a full-ass fucking video game.
Yeah, I heard it was like a little bit, like it was a shorter but still full experience.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime you get a DLC that's like well over 30 hours of additional like fucking gameplay, not that the amount of time a game has is the most important thing, but
yeah,
still legitimately incredible.
Alrighty, so for me, for the first time, and I watched this over for the first time this year, I don't have a this year game as my number one game of the year. Shocker, I know. Because I think, like 2 years ago, I had Fall Guys, and I don't even fucking remember what I had last year, but it was a 2020...
It Takes Two.
Yeah, It Takes Two, which, again, that's a phenomenal game, by the way.
Yeah.
We'll be the biggest shill of that game of all. But,
yeah.
For my number two game of the year, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is Kirby taken to a new level. The first fully 3D Kirby game. Think Mario 3D World kind. If you've ever played that game. So good. So good. It was so much fun to play on stream. I did a poll in my Discord server. I'm like, what do you people want to see? Me play the new Kirby or play 3D World plus Bowser's Fury? It was like a 7-1 vote. People play the new Kirby. Byron, play the new Kirby. And I'm glad I played the new Kirby. So much fun. If this is going to be the future of the mainline Kirby games, just take out the gotchas and take out the Twin Frosty damageless type missions and we're fucking good. This is so much fun. And I haven't played too many Kirby games, but like, goddamn. I don't think Forgotten Land will ruin other Kirby games for me, but like, for the first fully 3D Kirby game, they knocked it out of the goddamn park with this one. Highly recommended.
I'm glad that we got a legitimately great 3D Kirby game. I was convinced for the longest time that the reason we didn't have one up to that point is because a character that's kind of slow for the most part and has infinite jumps probably wouldn't translate well to like a super engaging 3D
Kirby doesn't
platformer.
have the hops that he did in the 2D games, but it still works really well.
Yes.
Even with all the copy abilities, there's still... It's a great Kirby game. Whether you've never played a Kirby game before, or you've played the whole damn series, play this. Highly recommended. Technically, my game of the year, like if we're talking just specifically games released this year, because this and like Curse to Golf were the only two 2022 games that I played. But yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten
I guess
Land,
while we're on
game.
that tangent, then best game I played this year that came out this year would be Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so so spoilers, the last 3 games you'll hear about didn't come out in 2022.
Yeah.
Spoilers, which I think may be a first for me, maybe not so much for you.
Oh yeah. So my number 2 game this year, and this was actually a legitimately hard choice for what would be number 1 for me and what wouldn't be.
Yeah.
My number 2 title is Final Fantasy VII Remake. So
interesting.
For anybody who's played the original Final Fantasy VII, this game has a lot of love and callback to the original. But even if you haven't, this game's legitimately like fun. It's beautiful. It's even if you never played the original, it's still like charming and nostalgic in a lot of ways. I think for myself, because I'm such a turn-based RPG like fucking purist.
Yeah.
That the decision to make it an action game for me was kind of like off-putting, and I didn't legitimately like enjoy the direction.
Yeah,
but then once I played it, I my opinion kind of shifted because now I'm like, no, it has to be an action game. It's just too good, right?
Yeah, like you were telling me like last year when we were hearing like, oh yeah, we were getting more information about the remake, you were concerned about it going more action instead of more towards like the turn-based.
Yes, but thankfully, like I stuck with it. I actually gave the game a shot and played through it, and I legitimately loved the game. For the longest time this year, it was my game of the year. Like straight on, I didn't think anything was going to be able to compete with it, but we'll get more into that later.
Yeah. And okay, so for my game of the year, I believe I played the first game of it last year. It was the runner-up to It Takes Two. Like, It Takes Two was so good, and I played it with Slade. And I technically played It Takes Two again this year with my buddy Dan. Number one, Psychonauts 2. I am a very recent Psychonauts fan, but I could imagine you played Psychonauts 1 in like 2005, and in like 2021, it's like, holy shit, we're getting a second game. For me, it was like a 1-year wait, but Psychonauts 2, it's so fun. It's so good. So good. There are some things that they kind of hampered from 1 to 2, but still, man, overall, great experience with Psychonauts 2. Game looks fucking gorgeous. One of the most gorgeous looking games I've ever played in my life. It's that good. Great gameplay. They brought back a lot of the great Psychonauts powers. They got some new ones. We got some cool new levels. Oh god, I think it was the Titanium or something like that. The level with the Jack Black song, basically. That level, oh, that was so good. So good. There's a fucking bowling level, man. There's a bowling level. This was the sequel to Psychonauts that many fans, including myself, wanted and was such a great game. My 2022 game of the year, Psychonauts 2. Play both games. Get them on Steam. Get them on Game Pass. Just play them. Just don't emulate Psychonauts 1 on PS2 or via PCSX2, please. But yeah, Psychonauts 2. My 2022 game of the year.
And honestly, a fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible platform.
Honestly, I hope it creates more hope for a lot of these games that were released in the 90s and mid-2000s that never really got sequels, despite the fact that they're amazing.
Yeah, and there were a lot of other great level themes. There was the opening levels, the disgusting, like, dentistry level. There was, like, a cooking game show. The final level, the theming for that final level. Oof, man. You're on, basically a Disney-esque, like, roller coaster. Ooh. A lot of great stuff about that game. Highly recommended. On whatever platform. Get Psychonauts 2. I hope we get Psychonauts 3 at some point. Please. Give us a Psychonauts 3. Please. Xbox. Tim Schafer.
The fans deserve
Phil
it.
Spencer. Please. Alright, and so Slade, what is your game of the year for 2020?
Alright, so I think I've developed somewhat of a reputation for being a indie games kind of stan overall, because I think every year we've done this, my game of the year has been an indie title. And you guys will be glad to know that the trend continues this year.
Yeah, one trend died for Slade, but another trend lives on.
Yeah, so this game, and I want to talk about it a little bit before I tell you guys what game it is was pretty emotionally impactful. I want to start off with a couple of caveats before we get into it. Okay. If you are triggered by themes of like self-harm, suicide, or like horror in particular is like kind of like scary for you, then don't play this game. It's something that like I don't think everybody's like capable of stomaching overall. But if you're willing to play a game that's kind of like a horror themed game and whatnot, as well as something that's going to emotionally like impact you and touch you, then please give this game a shot. So what game am I talking about? I am talking about Amori. So Omori is a much like Undertale before it is a game that's very heavily inspired by Earthbound, and there is it's basically a very charming game overall, where the main character kind of like has his own little like dream world that he goes to, and then like it when he goes there, the gameplay is very much Earthbound-esque, and I don't know, the art style in general is what really sold me on the game, with the stenciling and whatnot, with like colored pencil like graphics and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like the game is in like either it's like a combination of pencil and colored pencil.
Yes, and the game is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. Like I could go all day about the story of Omori, especially when you get to like the latter half of it, how like emotionally impactful it is, how you see somebody deal with depression in very real time.
Yeah.
As well as like a lot of other issues that like the main character deal with. The horror themes and the jump scares are, they're pretty scary, right? Like they kind of just when you think like I'm looking for the jump scare this time, they hit you with another one. So like, I don't know. Omori is like one of the best video games I think I have played the past few years. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as I did like Hollow Knight or something last year, but Omori is legitimately incredible, and I would recommend, if you're not triggered by like horror or themes of like self-harm or things like that, please play it. The message the game is trying to send is absolutely beautiful and whatnot, and I think it's something that everybody should experience once.
Well, there we go. That was the best and worst games that we played this year, and I believe this will either be the last episode of the year or the first episode of 2023. So
that's right. So we will be continuing to follow the news as we usually do.
Yeah, follow the news, give our thoughts on games and stuff as per usual. And yeah, 2022 was a pretty good year in general for us in terms of games we played. 2023 looking to be more the same. Will a multiplayer game crack our lists? Because except It Takes Two, I don't think that has ever happened. Thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which would be really interesting. But yeah, so, well, this has been Byron.
And this has been Slade.
And we will see you all. Either we're already seeing you in the new year, or we will see you in 2023 for whatever the hell the gaming industry has in store. Because if you thought 2022 was crazy, and it certainly fucking was. Am I not wrong, Slade? It was fucking crazy.
No, it was a pretty crazy year, especially with like the plot twists of like
Yuji
the news
Naka.
kept happening. Yuji Naka getting arrested not once but twice.
Yeah, I already gave this award out. The craziest story of 2022 is Yuji Naka, basically the man.
Yeah, Yuji Naka definitely was the craziest story this year. I don't think anybody was expecting.
Yeah. But 2023 is looking to be just a little less crazy, but maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see you all. We'll see you all next time for that good dose of gaming news. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.